Game on. How professional coaches make the best leaders. In this video, Barb Smith shares how building community is key to personal and professional success. She discusses how teammanship creates a sense of overall wholeness and purpose in life, and how we can all benefit from paying attention to the communities that we're a part of. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show. Be sure to like, subscribe, and you're going to be going on a wellness driven ride. Let me tell you a little bit about today's guest. One of the most incredible women I have had the pleasure of knowing and getting to spend time with. Barb Smith, and let me tell you too, this bio is just a tiny aspect of this incredible human being. But Barb Smith is a former Division I college athlete, basketball coach, motivational speaker, author, entrepreneur, and advocate for all levels of leadership. Having played and coached at the college level, Barb knows that sports go beyond winning and losing. Having experienced the highs and lows and twists and turns both in sports and in life, Barb has learned the meaning of resilience. Her story is one of the extreme highs, like winning conference games and back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, but also extreme lows, like not winning games or losing a player to spinal meningitis. Barb has shared these stories and others as she speaks on organizational principles and team building skills. She has presented to Fortune 500 companies, including State Farm, Marathon Oil, and Qualcomm. Please help me welcome Barb Smith.
April, thank you so much for that introduction. That makes me sound so professional.
You are.
Thank you for today. I am so grateful for this opportunity, and I absolutely love what you're doing with the show and what you guys are doing to make the world a better place.
Oh, thank you. And I mean, you're speaking to the mirror there, Barb, because I hope it's okay that I share this, but I recall the first time that we met, you made a statement that you were trying to raise $2 million. That's not a small amount for something that you were working on. Do you want to share a little bit about that? Because to me, that was like, this woman has such massive goals and dreams, and I want to know more.
I've come up with this assessment thing, this thing that really helps young people understand who they are and what they're about. And they're like, it's not a personality test, but it's a thing that helps them discover more about themselves. It's about a self-awareness journey. And we've gotten such great feedback, but I don't know if I said this then, but it was like, take the assessment and I would have to personally sort of score it myself, for I mean, that took hours to do. And so I said, I've got to automate this somehow. So I needed this money to build this thing. And in this journey that I've been on in raising this money, I've raised money and I've also had a workaround so we didn't have to spend $2 million on it. So it was much better, just, sort of fumbling through it and, coming up with a great solution. So I'm excited about this assessment and how it's helping young kids.
Oh, I love that. It is that is just so cool. I humbly would say I fell in love with you pretty quickly when I heard such a large dream and goal and what it was for, what you're about. Why don't we bring our audience a little bit to the beginning? Can you share with us who you are and how you became who you are now today?
Sure. I grew up in a family of with 6 kids. There were 6 of us, and God bless my mother and father. They had their hands full because, I mean, 6 was it is a handful. I don't know how people do 3 nowadays or 2 even, but, and we were all close in age, so it was, hand-me-down clothes and bunk beds and, just backyard play. Every weekend we'd go, or just about every weekend we'd go to my grandparents who lived on a farm, and it was like the national park. It was all kinds of tournaments, with the cousins, and my both of my parents have large families as well, so it's just in the blood. And we would have competitions, shuffleboard, basketball, volleyball, wiffle ball, volleyball outdoors, volleyball, pool volleyball. I mean, it was just like so many competitions, and we learned how to compete, in a positive way. Like you might be with grandpa, and you have to win, and you have to figure out how you and grandpa are going to use whatever strengths you have to win in the competition. And if you lost, you had to serve. You were the servers for like the next meal. So if it was, a lunch meal, then you had to serve the winners of their food and all of that. And if you won, you got served. So it was so much fun. And I mean, it was not gender specific, it was not age specific. It was like everybody has to figure it out. And I think that was one of the best things that I did growing up, just to kind of get in the mindset of team. We're all on teams. And
Mhm.
it's not just sports teams. We're on teams all the time. My family was a team. And I think that's what propelled me into loving talking about it, studying them. I spent a year going around the country studying teams, and these were sports teams. But then I pulled in a couple business to see if things were the if it was the same. And team is team is team. It just doesn't matter. You need each other. And once I got through elementary and into high school, I fell in love with sports. And in particular, I fell in love with a sport that does not match my height, April. I'm a shorty, but I wanted to play basketball, and people were saying, "Go play volleyball. It's better. It's better." And I loved volleyball too, and I loved softball, and I loved track, but I loved basketball the most. So here I went to, uh, you know, Ohio State, and I went there as a walk-on because I was 5 foot nothing, and so I had to earn everything. And I was really out to prove to people that size doesn't matter, because it didn't matter when I was growing up, it shouldn't matter now. And so it
Mm.
just really filled my heart when I made that team and got a scholarship and could help my parents who were funding 6 kids to go to college. And so from that point, I was, I'm gonna stay in sports. And for the next basically 30 years, I was a college women's basketball coach. And now, I'm looking at the players who are up there, and they're looking down at me as the coach. But I learned so much about about teamwork, about loss. Um, and it
Mm.
really just helps the whole perspective in life when you can throw those experiences together, um, and come out on teams, and also wanting to give back. I really want to give back. I really want to give people knowledge about how they can work better as a team, and also helping young people find their way so they can find the right team, because it does matter if you can find the right people, the right mix, and really mesh together, work together. The sky's the limit when that happens.
Yeah. Well, that really paints such an incredible picture of you growing up in this environment with your family, and you are in essence this awesome definition of team and community. And I love that. And you truly just kept following your heart and your desires. And I think how what a big message is that, Barb? Because I don't feel like people follow their hearts and their dreams, and you are really a show and tell for that. Uh, it sounds like to me.
I think people sometimes don't follow their hearts and their dreams because they're scared. And
Mm,
fear is one of the number one disruptors, not just in life, but in teams.
yeah.
You're afraid of the unknown, and that is no doubt scary. Um, you know, being an entrepreneur when you're in a comfort zone of 30 years of doing a trade, that's scary. And you make 1,000 mistakes. I'm on my millionth mistake. It's like you go out and you don't know what's around the corner, but you go anyways. And every time you get hit, it's like putting a little piece of armor on. You get stronger, and then you're able to get the hits more. And I think our youngsters, and this is something that is so for your show, it's wellness driven, is our youngsters are so protected sometimes that they go out into life with no armor
Hmm.
because somebody was their armor the entire childhood. Where when I grew up, you get thrown in the pool, you got to learn how to swim. You get hit because you're playing against a stronger uncle or something, and you just take it. But I think in life today, and it's scary out there, so parents really want to protect, but sometimes what we're producing then are people that are not so equipped to take hits, and you're gonna get hits in life. And I think that's where your team comes in, your support people come in, and if you learn, in short steps how to do that, it's so much easier than just throwing somebody out there without that background.
Oh, that's I love that you hit on those points. And myself being a mother, what a difficult lesson that was to learn. And to understand that I can't protect my children always. And I they scrape their knee, and be like, "Okay, wipe it off," rub some dirt on it. So it wasn't like that, but, it's easy to become this where you wanna control and you wanna protect, um, and then you have this understanding and realization that that is not in their best interest because we're all on our own journeys. And so I love that aspect that you bring to us and putting on the armor because, that's how we protect ourselves because we have the armor now. And I love that you pinpointed on, I'm on my millionth mistake, or however you said that. I think that is really key too, because we're always going to make mistakes.
Agreed, and you don't know what's around the corner, so you don't know if you knew what mistake was next, you might be able to correct it and fix it, but you don't know what's coming. And so this is what's so good about coaching, is you have to make decisions so quickly. The game is moving, and so your decisions go, and you may be right and you may be wrong, and no matter what, when you're right, it's somebody else, and when you're wrong, it's your fault. And you just get used to that. I was a point guard too. If we won, it was the coaches. If you lost, it was the point guard's fault. It's like
Mm.
you just learn that it doesn't matter what comes. It's how you handle it. It's how you bounce. And I work with a lot of, right now, high school student athletes, and we talk about the bounce factor. How do you bounce back? What if this happens? How would you bounce back? It's the bounce thing. It's how you handle the situations you're in, and accept those as learning tools, and, to help you later in life, because something's coming that you're going to need those tools for. And this is how you get ready for that thing.
Oh, I love that, the bounce back. And because so much of us, you know again, life happens and we're not always at those high points. So, and speaking of, lifting each other as we climb, we're going to go to our first commercial. And when we go back, let's do some more touch points on that. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm April Hove, the Managing Director of the Fort Worth, Texas chapter of eWomen Network. I'm so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You have just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We are on a mission to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWomen Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business. You being here right now is no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connecting through 118 chapters across the US, Canada, Australia, and the UK, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to ewomennetwork.com/Fort Worth. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I am really looking forward to introducing you to our community. So I want to talk a little bit about and do some touch points on what it means to experience the highs and lows, and then we'll bounce back to talking more about teammanship and community. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know with my law enforcement background how we really did experience these extreme highs and lows, and having to maintain that and learning that through breath work and putting on our armor. And so tell me a little bit about what that's like in the sports arena, because it's very much the same thing. And we were having a conversation the other night about how athletes experience that a lot, where they have these high points in life and then they switch gears, and especially younger athletes where they start going to college or they're going into other years and they stop doing the sports, and you can kind of go into this depressive like state.
Yeah, I think one thing that happens with sports as a person goes through the career of playing sports, you become an athlete. So you grow up and you're a person, and then you start taking on something that you're passionate about. Let's say athletics, and so the athlete and the person kind of gets meshed. But as you continue in sport, it becomes so full time. I mean, even at age 10, it's full time. Parents are driving kids around and they're playing all the time. They're playing in high school, they're playing club, they're playing in summer, and they become an athlete first instead of a person first. And then, the student gets in there too. Sometimes they're really academic driven. So it might be, student athlete, but a lot of times it's athlete student. And a lot of times it's athlete student person. So
Mm.
so the person piece gets left out or shelved, and they think they're going to pick it up at a later time. But it's sort of like 30 years of coaching. If that's all you are as a coach, then when you leave coaching, oh my God, who am I? Or, if you've always been doing the same stuff, I've played basketball all my life. I coach basketball. I'm a basketball person. And when you leave basketball, you have to figure out your person again. And if we could take somebody, 100 years old like me and go all the way back to childhood where you were everything, you were the person and the athlete and the student, and try to keep that balance throughout your career, life would be quite different. And I think there would be healthier athletes and healthier students and healthier people. because you'd be working on all of those at the same time. And I think all of us have a piece of that, where we shelve something. You shelve motherhood for a time, and we try to compartmentalize instead of just let it kind of blend together. You're a mom entrepreneur, aunt, sister, all the things that you are, to try to keep them in balance and in check, I think is really a powerful thing.
Mm.
Because when you look at it, I mean, when I look at you talked about this, we lost a player, you know? I mean, that was like the most devastating thing my entire career.
Mm.
I'll start crying about it because it's like, oh my God, we've lost a player. And, it's like, what are we doing? We're just playing sports, this is a life. And these were best friends, and she had a family. And I mean, it changes your perspective, I think. And it does make you look at things differently.
It does, and I think that it starts to bring in the human people person aspect because you have to reflect on it at that time. It really brings at full force this reality of what's truly important. Um, and I'm so sorry for that loss. That's that's awful. And again, it does have us reflect on the things that matter, and I think it's really neat that you got to experience what you did when you were a child because you knew what that was. You knew when all of that is blended together and there's balance within that, that the importance of it, and then you see the differences between not having that and having that. So you really are bringing light to that to the people that you coach, and that's a beautiful thing.
And I think one of the coolest things about that experience is that we saw the community just wrap their arms around us. Even this happened when we were playing a game, right after that. So the opposing team also could have been affected. So everybody had to isolate and quarantine and all this. And so those two teams,
Yeah.
really, the whole team came to the memorial, and the whole thing was just so powerful. And the community wrapped themselves around us, and we were just, every time, every game after that, it was just, whatever we can do, and life got easier. um, Obviously not because of the loss, but because those people were there to support us. And that's what happens when you have a community of people,
Yeah.
and your I guess what you're doing affects them. So every step you take, every game, every point, people are watching. Somebody's watching, and somebody is going to get something out of this experience. Even this one right now, it's going to hit for somebody. And it might even be one of you or me, but something good is going to
It
come out
just
of
might
it.
be you or me.
And that's the cool thing about interactions and people.
Yes.
We need each other. We're not built to be alone. We need each other.
No, I've gotta share because I haven't thought of this experience in a long time. But what you described with the power of the community coming together for this child's death, um, reminds me of a funeral that I went to for a fallen officer, and there were thousands of people, and we all lined up. We were
Mhm.
driving in line with our patrol vehicles, lights. It was so profound of a moment for me, and I it was impossible to hold back the tears, from the response of the community, and we had agencies from all over the state, and it's just so powerful, and it's an incredible and beautiful thing when we have that. And so coming back to, and I want to be able to have our audience relate a little bit about, when we experience highs and lows such as that, when it's involving death, I mean, that's an extreme low and having an effect. And this happens to everyone. It's not just
Right.
in sports, and it's not just in law enforcement or what have you. It's for all of us. We all go through these extreme highs and lows of life, but really having the impact of community and what that means. And that's really what I want to bring to the audience today is, and I think that, if we take COVID for an example, Barb, and what you experienced and saw during that shift, but it was such a revelation of an experience for the whole world on what it is to not have or be around other human beings.
No doubt. I mean, that was the most isolated I think we've ever been, and I think people are still struggling with coming back out of that situation,
Yeah.
especially our youth, but not just our youth, but especially, our youngsters that, it was so hard for them not to have the friends and the family around. When I say family, extended family, sometimes families were separated too. So it was definitely not easy. And I think that's it does give us perspective. April, as you said, it gives us perspective because we need people in our lives.
Yeah.
And as a coach, you need a team. As a family, you need a team. The people that went through COVID that were by themselves, many of them didn't die of COVID. They died of loneliness. I mean, they were left,
Yeah.
without people to help them. And you saw around the world how people were coming together to bring people food and to bring people water and to have outdoor. There were pictures all over the social media about outdoor 6 feet apart
Yeah.
gatherings of strangers even who later probably became friends. But just
Yeah.
the fact that we need the connection from other people.
Ah, I love that. I just got some chills because it is that, strangers coming together, and that's really where I get excited because we are truly connected, and when we experience that, it's very powerful. And I want to touch light again about your comment about how people die of loneliness. That is a fact. That is true, and it just exposes the fact that we need each other and we need community. So thank you so much for sharing that touching memory of yours and your experience with that. We're going to go to another commercial, and when we go back, we'll talk some more. So stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. I am Kim Jacobs, the host of The Kim Jacobs Show, and you all know who's right here with me, Dr. Les Brown. How are you, Dr. Brown?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time you want to give yourself a competitive edge. If you got a message, you have some knowledge or experience, a story, or if you want to do something adventurous and exciting with your life that can increase your credibility, expose you to millions of people, I'm encouraging you to have your own talk show. I used to have a talk show. That one talk show catapulted me to another level. Now there are more people watching the internet, as you are aware, than television.
Yes.
Come on, somebody.
That's right.
Dr. Kim Jacobs, she trained people on how to have their own talk show. She will train you how to do that. And now with me working, partnering with her, now you have the combination of an audience, expansive audience. We have over 4 million people in all of our platforms, and the coaching you need to grow your business, to grow your multi-level marketing organization, to draw more attention to yourself in this noisy economy. Go ahead, Kim.
So in the training that I do, Les, I actually do a 6-week training. It's 1 hour per week. And each week I meet with the individuals one-on-one. We go through and we talk about all of the things that's necessary for a show to become a reality. We go from how to actually identify your focus area, what's going to be your ideal customer that's going to be tuning in. We'll talk about how to get guests, how to get sponsorship, how to go about getting your lighting, your branding, and your banners, and everything that you need to know. And guess what, Les? They
Right.
own their own content at the end of the day.
And that's exciting. Now, if you're ready to create a shift in your business and in your life and increase your cash flow, I want you to go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. It's right there on the screen. KimJacobsConsulting.com. You know, people say opportunity knocks on every door.
Right.
No, opportunity stands by silently waiting for you to recognize it. So I want you to recognize that this is a time for you. This is an incredible time to have your own talk show. It establishes a level of credibility.
Yes.
And by being exposed to people on a regular basis, it allows you to strategically begin to impact and attract your audience. She can take you in a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself. So go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. That's KimJacobsConsulting.com. Did I say KimJacobsConsulting.com? Yes, you did. Very good. Make sure you go there and sign up for the coaching, and we're looking forward to working with you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. That's my story, and that's Kim's story, and we're sticking to it. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
I can't help but laugh. But I adore that commercial and Les and Kim. So I would love to let's go back a little bit, Barb. How do teammanship and camaraderie help to create a sense of wholeness and purpose in life?
I love that. I love that question. I think, the fact that on a team, nobody has to carry the load by themselves. So you space out the heaviness of what the team has to go through, and it makes it easier. So if everybody on the team can commit to the camaraderie of the group and take on the responsibility that they can handle, everybody gets to handle the load, and it makes it so much easier to get to the outcome that way, and so much easier to live life if we have those other folks around us that can help carry the load, that can be listeners, that can help us through the tough times, as you said, the grieving periods when we go through, and even the highs. I mean, people to help celebrate when life is so good that there's something to celebrate. It's the same when it's high and low, in that you need those people to be there to help celebrate or to help lift you back up.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot to be said about, you really find your people, right, that are willing to stick with you through all of it, good and bad, the ugly. And so I think that's really what creates a team or community. And I keep bringing the word community in because not everybody is an athlete, not everybody's on a team. This is absolutely your specialty, but it blends together. It all has the same meaning for all of us and how important it is. So I love that. And I want to know, why do you feel that it's important to feel like you belong to something larger than yourself? Let's go that route.
Wow. I think you go through life, and to your former point, the world is a team, and that's why we need each other. There's sub teams, but really we're trying to figure this out together. And
Yeah.
the angst that is going on in our society right now is proof that we're not using each other very well. We're not enriching each other's lives very well, because there's so much I guess angst and anger and things that are going on in this world right now that are unnecessary if we would just come together. But I think that having the team, having the group, and really fostering relationships helps mend that and helps build team. And so if we all could just every single, like I was saying before, every single interaction you have with somebody is an opportunity. and that it's an opportunity for you to learn, and it's an opportunity for you to lift somebody up, and it's an opportunity to have relationship. That's what happened with you and I.
It is.
We're, we were two complete strangers. We ended up on the same team, and we didn't know each other. And it was the leadership team of this thing that we were at. And that's how we got on this, texting thread. And you were saying some really cool stuff. And it was like,
Thank
I need
you.
I need to know her. Like, she's somebody that I would want in my community. And I think that's what fosters those things. And then here, look where we are. It just built from there. And you've become a great friend. And so now what we do, we're going to bring other people in, and it just continues like that. It's like a big old net of people. And you've helped change my life, April.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. You're gonna make me blush. Thanks, Barb.
I hope
I mean,
so.
I really look up to you, and to hear you say things like that to me is very moving. I don't want to cry. So thank you. It means a lot. And but you're correct. It is just what we do for each other, and by lifting each other and really, you know, putting yourself out there to know people, to meet people, and those people that you sort of idolize to begin with, say something, tell them that you love what you're doing, and why is it that you admire these people and what they're doing. So really being able to break that mold of introduction. And
Uh,
so I want to learn more about what you do, Barb. Let's start talking about that. You have two incredible companies that you've created. You've got Courtside Leadership and Find My Team. I have them scrolling on the bottom below, and you'll have access to that for our audio or our listeners, excuse me, in the description. Barb, tell me a little bit about both. You can start with either one first. Which one came first? How about that?
Courtside Leadership came first. And Courtside Leadership came out of a situation while I was coaching, where the NCAA put out this survey from female athletes, college female athletes, and what I discovered was that women's college basketball players were the least satisfied with their college experience, and that was like a dagger to my heart, because that was
Oh.
my existence. And so I got off the coaching treadmill for a year and a half, and I went out and I researched what the heck is going on, and learned a ton. And that's where the book came. I put a book out. I wrote a book about the 6 keys that you need on teams, and how when they're working together, it builds peak performance.
There's also I wanted to stop real quick. There's also a link to that in the description. So I want our audience to know that.
Yeah, and so that came first. And so what Courtside is that we help teams reach peak performance. We evaluate teams. We go into businesses. We evaluate teams. We do motivational speaking on teams. We are keynotes. We everything that you can think of that's team building. We'll come in and do team building with your organization. It's just about getting teams to work better together and reaching their outcomes.
Mhm.
And then the Find My Team came when I retired from coaching. And Find My Team, because of some of the experience, I got to see kids in college. I got to see women thrive in college, and I got to see some of them just survive it. And those two experiences are so different
Mhm.
that if parents and student athletes and anyone else who's in that student athlete circle knew where that child could go to thrive, they'd allow it. No matter if it was to the moon, they would allow it, because it's that different of an experience. And so I came up with this where I got the assessment that I was talking about earlier. And we get in with these families, and we help them navigate the college recruiting process and help them find fit. Because if a student can find fit, a student or a student athlete, if they can find fit in a college, they're more, the chances of them staying there and graduating are up, because they go way up. And the chances of them
Yeah.
being networked and ready when they come out also go up. So finding fit is really the crux of that business. And we really dive in and try to help them get to where they really want to go.
That's so cool. And I get to experience this work of yours on a few different levels because one of my friends, and now obviously one of your friends, but Ronnie Rhodes, you've been working with her and her daughter on finding fit for her because she wants to continue, the sport and find the right fit and the right college. And you're right, it does make all the difference in the world. I mean, you have to be satisfied. And that's really also blending in that aspect of team and personal, like you as the person, and taking care of you first, and being satisfied and whole and well in order to perform at your best level.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the neatest things we do is we really try to help young people um, discover what they might really want to do with their life beyond the sport, beyond college, looking way ahead. What do they
Yeah.
want to do? And then helping them figure out how to get there, through college and what needs to happen and all those things. And just really, take it step by step. But passion is what leads people. And when you
Yeah.
find something that you fall in love with, and you find a college that has that, and or you find a sport that you love, and you find the college that has the coaching style, the culture of the university, the academic piece, of course, and all the little things that are really important to you, and we help them discover what's important to them, then you can really blow your mind with where you can go and what you can accomplish, not just at school and college, but beyond that.
And that, Barb, is how you're changing the world.
Yeah, that's how they're gonna change the world, because we're gonna give
Yeah.
them and
Well,
help them, and it's gonna be, these young lives, and they need help. These young lives need us. They need help. They need some guidance. They need some love, encouragement, and we need to help feed their passions so that they can go do the thing that they're born to do and that they love to do. And that's, fostering our future leadership, which you need some wellness leadership, April, to make that happen. So, what we're both doing, I hope, can make a huge difference in this world.
absolutely. Leading the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Barb, you have so many incredible. I just love your rich history and how you came into all of this. And is there anything else that you want to share today?
Well, I would just, for the audience, I would just say one thing that kind of, our both of our companies are doing. I kind of said it earlier, but if if there is one kind act that you could do every single day, just with a stranger, with your family, if we could all just be a little more kind, um, I really think things will turn back around. In your small world, bring kindness, bring smiles, bring positive energy, and in your larger teams and world, bring the same thing and let people see and let it radiate from you, because that somebody needs that right now. Somebody needs your kindness, your smile, your hug, your positive energy. Somebody needs it, and it will probably change their life.
Oh, that's a beautiful message. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So, Barbara, I'm curious, because I actually don't know the answer to this, but if people want to donate to you, to the cause, to what you're creating, what does that look like? Is that on one of these websites or both?
If somebody wants to donate, they can email me, and if you go through each one, each website has a way to contact us. So you can go through that way, or it's just I'll just give you one of the emails, barb@findmyteam.com or barbsmith@courtsideleadership.com. So either one.
Perfect.
will-
I think I ought to have one or two, at least one of those on the description, and we'll make sure that we put that in for the audience. So that's really cool. I wanted to know just if there was anyone who found this, you know, are passionate about what you're doing, then this is some way that they can step in and help. And tell me, Barb, what is next for you?
Well, we've got a lot of work to do in both of these companies. So we're not near finished in the reach that we want to hit, and also I'm trying to get to millions of young lives, and we're not quite there yet. But every day and every sign up matters. And if our listeners out there know anybody who is struggling with the recruiting process, with confidence, with their teams, business or sports teams, reach out to us, because you're not meant to struggle that way. We have solutions and can help you with the processes of basically of team. It's all about team.
It is. And I think that what's really cool about what you're doing, Barb, is and you would know better than I do because I know you've researched, but I would venture to say I am not aware of any other recruiting programs out there that are really blending and marrying the essence of, not only finding the right fit, but the self-development aspect, the really honing in on what do you need as a human being in order to succeed also.
Well, I'm sure there are, and I'm sure if not, there will be soon. But the cool thing about what we do, and it's so unique, it's taking the person individually and getting into the heart of that person and figuring out what she wants to do,
Yeah.
and helping her get there. And so we begin with sports on the shelf instead of the other way around. And that's the huge difference here, is we really try to figure out and help the student athlete and really sometimes just the student, because we have some that aren't athletes, not going to play in college, what they want, how we can help them get to where they want to go and be successful.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, you're doing so many great things. I love it. I'm so excited to share. Thank you so much for being on the Wellness Driven Life Show. I want to make sure everybody knows again how to reach you, www.courtsideleadership.com and www.findmyteam.com. Those will be in the descriptions. And I want to thank you again, Barb, for being on the Wellness Driven Life Show. It is such a pleasure knowing you personally, and such a pleasure to show you to the rest of the world. So I want to also let our audience know, if you have any comments or questions and you're watching the replay of this show, please leave them and we will get back to you in the future. And also remember that the Wellness Driven Life Show is here from your amazing contributions and generosity. You can donate to the Wellness Driven Life Show once, weekly, monthly, annually. It doesn't matter what amount. And when you donate on our website at www.thewellnessdrivenlifeshow.com, you will be gifted with this beautiful follow-up email, and then you can keep that for your records. So I want to thank you again, Barb, for being here on the Wellness Driven Life Show. And I want to just end. We will see you next time.
April.